Honestly, I've avoided sharing this story partly out of embarrassment and partly out of fear of judgment. But it's Friday, and I wanted to end the week with something a little more fun. So today I'm going to tell you how I got into trading in the first place, and I'll walk you through the wild timeline that was my first 6 months in the market. And at the end, I'll show you the trade I took today during the wild volatility spike and the decision I made about whether or not to take a payout in my Take Profit Trader account. Also, I've discovered a little feature in Take Profit Trader when it comes to payouts, which I think is actually going to be really good for my psychology. It was still full on COVID restrictions. So we weren't going anywhere for New Year's, which we don't anyways. So it was fine. I went to go and look for something for us to watch on Netflix, but for whatever reason, I opened YouTube and I saw that this podcast, Your Mom's House, had on Andrew Tate. And I really wanted to watch it because they had been going back and forth with him. Like they were making fun of him that he wasn't actually rich, he was faking it. And then he had been saying stuff back to them. Anyway, so I asked my husband, can we watch this? And he goes, yeah, sure. So we watched the podcast and it was actually pretty funny. My husband was like, I love this guy. He's hilarious. So great. I made my husband an Andrew Tate fan. Um, but in the podcast, there were at least a few times where Andrew Tate references his school that he started called at the time Hustlers University. And he says, oh, you'll make a lot of money fast or whatever. I teach you everything you need to know, something like that. He's pitching it a few times. Whatever. We finished watching the podcast. And then I don't know if it was that day or like a few days later or something. My husband signed up for Andrew Tate's email newsletter with no end in sight to the COVID restrictions in Canada and sort of like mounting financial stress. I decided to start flipping furniture to make some money for us. So basically, that would just entail me looking for free or cheap furniture on Facebook Marketplace. I'd buy it, we'd go pick it up, I'd clean it, sand it, and then all of them, I think, pretty much painted them white, did new hardware, or else painted the hardware, staged them, took pictures, and sold them for a profit. It was a lot of work, but I enjoyed doing it, and it was actually going surprisingly well for me. By now, my husband had read enough emails from Andrew Tate that he was completely sold on Hustlers University and he signed up. I think it was $50 a month when he signed up. I was like, whatever, I don't care. He went through the various courses on how to make money online. And then he came to the stocks course, which I guess he was the most interested in. And he started following what was going on in there. He took the course and then he started following what was going on in their Discord and noticing how they were making so much money every day. He also sold me on how much money we could make in the stocks room just following the guy on Discord, the professor. Um, so we took the $2,000 to $3,000 that I had made flipping furniture and put it in an account to trade options. The plan was for my husband to do it, but by this time, the truckers' protest had happened and the restrictions were starting to be lifted. So he was getting back to work full time. So instead, he showed me how to do it. And I didn't know anything about it. I just followed what the guy told me to do. Um, and somehow, pretty quickly turned that two or $3,000 into 5,000. We noticed that the guys who were making the most money in the group were trading futures. So we made the decision to take the $5,000 now that I had from furniture flipping and trading and combine it with our other savings that was set aside for my husband's new garage. And we got an account with Interactive Brokers so that we could trade futures. It was around 50,000 Canadian that we had in there when I started. On my first day trading futures, near the end of the day, like the professor was constantly holding positions overnight. I got a warning, I got the message like, you're going to be liquidated. So I called my husband panicking. It was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what this means. I'm going to be liquefied in 10 minutes. And he's like, you're not going to be liquefied. You're going to be fine, but the position's just going to be sold off in 10 minutes. So I just closed it and we lost $8,000 on day one trading futures. But by the end of the week, trading futures, I was actually up $8,000. I will never forget this day. It was getting close to the New York close, and our professor had said, no more trades today because CPI tomorrow. I don't want to be getting into this. And then, like 5 minutes later, when the NASDAQ was selling off, he says, I'm getting in along here. So, of course, I didn't think, oh, well, he just said he wasn't going to. Maybe I shouldn't. I jumped in right after him. And then as it kept going against him, he kept adding on to the position, and I kept adding on as well. He assured us just whatever, hold the position overnight. Tomorrow morning, when the CPI data comes out, it's to the moon. Don't worry, we're going to be making lots of money in the morning. The exact opposite happened. It completely, like, I don't know, maybe I'm traumatized, but I've never seen it sell off so quickly and so violently. It just straight down. I had to sell off, like micros at a time so I wouldn't get liquidated. We held a little bit of it over the weekend, and then on Monday it kept going down. So I had to get out of the position and just take the $20,000 loss. And now the account was at about $20,000. In these months, I was slowly making the money back, usually about $500 a day. Things would be going good, and then there'd be a red day, but the account was climbing and it was actually getting close to 30,000, which felt so much better to me than 20,000. Then there was an FOMC day, and our professor decided to treat us to like a live FOMC where he'd come on Discord and it would be like a live call in sort of thing where he's talking. So we're actually hearing him while the press conference is going on. Now, I remember him saying that he was going to wait for the dust to settle and catch the afterglow or something like that on FOMC. Then, like 30 seconds later, just out of nowhere, he's like, okay, I'm going long. I don't remember if it was a long or a short, but he jumped in. So then all of us are like, okay, in we go. We got to follow the professor. Um, I ended up losing $8,000 that day, and the account was basically right back to where it was at that CPI low that I had been trying to work my way out of all summer. That was it for my futures account, and that was it for Hustlers University. My husband took the account away, he took the money, put it back into savings, and I told him, you need to cancel your subscription to Hustlers University now. I don't want to have any input from that. I don't want to go back to the group. I need to figure out how to trade on my own. He was like, for the love of God, just quit trading. Like, this has been enough of a stressor. We've lost enough money. It's been enough. Just quit. And I said, no, I'm going to keep trading. I'm going to learn how to do this myself. So that's when I got into prop firms and, you know, watched YouTube videos trying to figure it out. And then I came across Al Brooks. I bought his course and I've just been slowly figuring it out on my own ever since. For the pros, there was so much energy in the group. There was energy and encouragement and camaraderie. Like, it felt like we were all in this trading thing together. When we had a good winning trade, everyone was in there celebrating together. When we had a big loser, everyone was kind of laughing it off together. That's the positives. Basically, that's it. Was just like the camaraderie and the excitement and having other people in it with you. On the negative side, I learned some truly terrible trading habits in this group. We routinely laughed off being liquidated. We weren't reprimanded for, not having any sort of risk management. There were no hard stops. Our professor would just say like his area where a stop would be, but then he would just routinely ignore that and either let it go so far against him that he just had to get out, or else he held so long that then it would go, 20 points in profit after going 150 points against us and be like, woo, we won. So Bad habits to get into with no stops. Another terrible one was adding on to losing positions. As a new trader, I was like, "Oh, this is brilliant. I can get a better entry price by just adding on." It's not. It took me a long time to break these habits. Another bad one was there were a few responsible guys in there talking risk management and stops, and they'd come in and be like, say like, "Oh no, I didn't win. I got stopped out." And then other it would kind of be like, "Oh, you're a sissy or whatever because you're using stops." So just that kind of those kind of things were probably pretty negative. I think the worst part about it though was that our professor was on such a pedestal. Like he was the god of trading to us. He was the wizard. Like they called him the wizard. And when he won, it's just like, "Oh, wizard, that's amazing. How did you see such an amazing trade?" When he lost, nothing. It was just like, "Oh, that's too bad." Nobody was really questioning him much on the actual trades. We just kind of most of us, there were a few guys in there that, were obviously a little bit more experienced, but the vast majority of us just blindly followed him and trusted him. And the rule was, don't question it. If you're entering in on my trade, then you can just follow my trade. Get in where I get in, get out where I get out. And then I don't want to hear about it. So, am I the dumbest woman in the world for introducing my husband to Andrew Tate? Actually, no. Surprisingly, he's been a very positive influence on my husband. My husband hated working out. He refused to work out at all. And now he does push ups all the time, which is good for his health. So, I'm grateful to him for that. Another thing that I've noticed is like if he has to do something hard or like he's, like wants to be complaining about something that he has to do, it's like Andrew Tate's there and he'll sort of like flip and be like, "Oh, I just need to man up and do this thing. Like I need to toughen up." So I think it's actually been beneficial for him and I don't regret it. That being said, my husband's old enough and smart enough to be able to separate like the bullshit from the comedy, from the good advice that he gets from him. So, um, it's different than if like, I had a 16-year-old son listening to him, I think. All right, here's the trade I decided to get into in the volatility. It is my A short setup coming. It has a 52-point stop and then like a 78-point target. As you can see, I did not move my take profit in time. So it just right away, and it set it automatically at like 15 and 15, and then I moved them. So it just automatically won the 15 points. And I was just like, okay, whatever. I could have jumped back in, but I didn't want to. Instead, I marked out where the take profit would be and I just watched the trade. I was on a single micro on this because of the larger stop and the volatility. Now, do I feel stupid now that it went, I don't know, like ended up going 3 or 400 points in my favor? I don't know. No, I'm okay with the $30 and just winning on a Friday. I'm not going to take a payout. I've decided that I want to grow the account. I want to be able to trade 3 micros. I'm not like, I don't need the money to pay a bill right now. So I'm just going to leave it and grow the account and stick with valid setups and discipline and what I've been doing. Now, in this, I did discover that because I was pissed off about that $50 fee, that Take Profit Trader, I reached out to their support and they actually have a wallet in the dashboard. So at any time above that $1,500, I can send over any amount of it to my wallet and you don't get an extra fee charged for that. It's only when you transfer it out to your bank account, you need to have more than $250 or more to not get the fee. The other thing with the wallet is I could send over $90 into it, and then I can use that within Take Profit Trader to buy a new eval account. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I think that that's actually going to be better for my psychology to have this option available of like, because I wouldn't take a $90 payout. It would seem silly, but I would have no problem just being like, yeah, I'll send 90 or $100 or even $50 a week into my wallet and let that kind of slowly grow while I'm still slowly growing the account. So no payout, but I'm really glad I found this little feature. All right, thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video. A bit of a different tone than usual. I just wanted something more fun. I just want to thank you guys. I really feel like this comment section and the videos and the accountability has been so beneficial for me. I feel like Monday, Tuesday, I was really in like a bit of a down mood. Definitely on Tuesday after I bailed early or moved my stop too close on that trade that ended up going 200 points and I only made $22. Um, but then I got comments from you guys right away. And I really felt like, oh, this is a support group. I feel so much better. I'm so grateful for these people that are watching my videos and, commenting on them and sharing in this. So I just want to thank you guys all for just watching and being here and being so supportive. All right. I hope you have a great weekend. I will see you back on Monday.